Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Weird White Gardener. And this is where I planted hollyhocks. Looks like some of them are actually starting to come up this year, which is good, because once I can get the bed established, there will always be hollyhocks here. We've had a crap ton of rain. It's been nothing but foggy and misty, as you can see. The trees look great, but the grass is really growing. I'm going to have to come down here and trim around this wonderful gooseberry bush, but it's clearly growing because you can see all the new growth. It's nicely establishing, and that's awesome. The penstemon is blooming, which I love. That's beautiful. No sign of the... Oh, there we go. There's the first one. Ugh. I'm a terrible camera person. There it is down there. There we go. Yeah, there it is. There's the first plantain lily. These are establishing nicely. So I think I might do this again next year. There's some weeds that I will need to pull. The yarrow looks nice. The new daylilies are blooming, but the old one's not yet. Lavender's still going. The peony is finished for the year. And here's a real problem I've been having this year. Look at these weed trees. They are everywhere. I can't pull them fast enough. I had to buy plant supports for these this year. I finally gave in and bought some, because it's been so rainy, they've just been falling all over. Alright, this guy has to be brought under control pretty soon. We'll give the old artichoke central stem theory a try and cut it back. I really like the big giant leaves. I really like how it gives the cat a place to hide, but I also don't want it to seed. A lot of the radishes are just about done producing pods, so I'll have to replace them pretty soon. This poor sage plant managed to survive. The Carobi and dwarf white sugar are doing well in their pots, but it looks to me like Tom Thumb's about done. This pot of herbs is looking awesome. The Seltzer red radishes never really produced a radish, so I may trade those seeds away next year. The tomatoes in these pots are doing okay. This one didn't make it, it died. The broccoli has already produced a couple of small heads, and then we've got another one coming here. It looks like another side stem coming there, so maybe we'll still get some more. This is volunteer tomato, which is doing better than some of the ones that I planted. The nasturtium tastes delicious. These are the Romanesque broccoli, which, you know, still coming up. I really like the way the pomegranate crunch lettuce looks. These guys are still blooming, but I should probably deadhead it and pull a few plants. The parsnip is getting ready to seed. This guy is a brassica I did not plant. I presume he's a seed who blew from somewhere else last year. The squashes that I planted along here are all doing very well, but I can't remember what they all are anymore. Oops. Oh, those are acorns, and then these are yellows, and then this one I'm not sure what it is. There's two of them in there, so it's got to be one that I started. Eggplants are not doing as well as I had hoped. These tomatoes are doing well in here. These are the indigo rose tomatoes, so that's what they look like. I don't know. I presume that when they're ripe, they'll be fully dark all around and a little soft to the touch. But they're still quite hard, so they're not ready yet. Okra's coming up nicely. Lots and lots of the sugar snap peas. I haven't bought a package of that in years because that particular thing is so easy to save seed from. The lettuces are still doing nicely. And there's a random bean that I stuck in there. I think that might, either I stuck that random bean in there or it's a leftover Whipple seed, I don't remember. There's a number of volunteer tomato plants in this bed too. Georgia collards, yellow beets, cauliflower. I planted Mayflower beans here and they did not come up. But the Cherokee and the Turkey Craw are coming up nicely. The black-eyed peas are being a little overwhelmed, so I had to figure out a way to move the peas back a little bit because they're not getting any light. The dinosaur kale, plugging along slow but sure. The ground cherry, Aunt Molly's already got fruits on her. And chard, which apparently always does beautifully no matter what you do to it. And a kale. The greens always do nicely. I'm thinking about how I have arranged this bed. And I like the short greens and the middle tall. But I think I might have to move the tall back another square foot row next year. Because the tall really takes away some of the growing potential. This arrangement seems to work nicely, the beans and the tomatoes. Lemon balm and the lovage far less overwhelming this year, and I think that's in part because I've been eating it for salad almost every day. So I've been keeping it cut down. Interesting to note the difference in the tomatoes between the ones that are growing under covers and the ones that are not. And there's my little kitty friend. This little bed, again, with the exception of the hillbilly tomato, which I'm really disappointed about because it's the only one that sprouted and I really wanted to see what those tasted like. These little tomatoes are coming up. Hopefully I'll get some tomatoes off of them before the season ends. Okay. So the borage is coming up in force this year. The mint needs to be cut back. More pumpkins and squashes, and the squirrels have gotten into them and killed some of them already. I'm going to plant shade-loving wildflower blend back there because I got to do something with it. It's clearly not going to grow food. Alas, my poor good King Henry was eaten by a bug. But I still have a few more seeds, and it's still pretty cool, so I'll put them out and see if we get anything. One asparagus crown. These lettuces are coming up slow. 16th century bed. Yeah, I couldn't understand why some of it wasn't growing well. I mean, we had a crappy spring, so I can understand why the spinach isn't doing so hot. The arugula is blooming, and I really love the arugula bloom, so I will make sure I get the seed from this. The tennis ball lettuce, you know, coming up slow but sure, but here's the interesting thing I learned, the auric. Yes. Apparently critters love oric because they have eaten the crap out of this. That's why it's not growing, I suppose. We got cocazelli and that's the Armenian cucumber. That's the pumpkin of Provence. Here's the snake gourd and the Natamorska rutabaga, scarlet runner beans. More tomatoes doing well under covers. Another tomato doing well under cover. Here's the cardoon coming up. This is the yellow pear. This is the Juliet. This one here is the red pear that was going to go where the Juliet is, but it didn't make it. This is a really, really good example of the difference between, these were all the same size when I planted them. And as you can see, the one that was growing underneath the bottle as a cloche was doing really well. And the other ones are, you know, not so much. Next year, with this bud, I'm going to create a pretend crop rotation system. So I'm going to divide it into 4 beds with a dividing crop down the middle, something that I love a lot, like maybe kale or something. And I'm going to create a crop rotation system, which is going to be interesting because that end of the bed does not get good sun. That end of the bed obviously does. Alright. These are the Jerusalem artichokes. The potatoes, which I don't think I'm going to have in there much longer. I think I'm going to pull them all as soon as they start blooming. And we'll have a delicious thing of new potatoes. And look! A 3rd asparagus crown has started coming up. So maybe I'll have 3 asparagus plants established. The squirrels and rabbits have gotten into the squash bed, and this is all different ones. I don't even remember what I put where because I didn't mark it. Which was foolish, but it seemed, you know how it goes. I will remember it. Well, I should write it down because I always forget when I tell myself that. Nah, I'll remember it. Yeah, well, no, I didn't. The only thing I can really be sure of is that the 2 things that are under cover are the 2 Moon and Stars watermelons that the rabbits or squirrels or chippies or whatever did not kill. Lettuces, rutabagas, I think those are American purple top rutabagas, and weeds. Egyptian onions, lettuces, garlic, and weeds. Alpine strawberries. Ooh, yum. And regular strawberries too. But I'm going to have to start checking them daily because otherwise I'm letting them get overripe. There's not a lot of plants here. And I have to learn to have a few yummy strawberries with my stuff. I forget about the rest. Alright, raspberries are going to be a bumper crop this year. I have continued to lightly harvest the rhubarb because the raspberry is really interfering with its ability to get sun. I might start cutting them down so that they don't grow too much taller. Not that this is a particularly tall bush, which I'm grateful for, but anyway, There's gonna be a lot of them. And I think that's the whole way around, isn't it? We're gonna have to trim this tree. I sure don't want squirrels able to jump up on my roof. I have to clean up this mess. And there's lots of clover and dandelion